how did we get here? In case anyone has noticed, right now there is a credit crisis going on, and it's affecting your pocketbooks. It's affecting your ability to get a financial transaction done. Have you noticed that? Well, where did that come from? The very beginning and the origins of credit are pretty simple enough. When you used to move into a neighborhood, a long time ago, there would be what's known as the welcome wagon. The welcome wagon would come and visit your door and say, hello, welcome to the neighborhood, we have an apple pie for you, bring us in and let us sit down and we'll get to know you a little bit. Well, it seemed very innocent, but often the origins of it were the local merchants within that town. They wanted to know whether you were someone that they could lend credit to. Not everyone carried around cash and dollars with them everywhere they went, so they often bartered or did things on credit. So the little old ladies from the welcome wagon would come into your house and say, how many kids do you have? Let's look at how they're dressed. Let's look at your furnishings. What occupation do you do? What race, ethnicity, religion, whatever you are. They would document all of that and then report back to the local merchants and say, family X is good to lend to. You have no worries. You can loan them all the hay feed that you want. I think they can afford to repay you back. Or, no, this family, we don't really like them so much. Don't think that you should extend credit to them. Make them pay everything cash. That was the origins of the first credit bureaus, essentially. Now, fast forward a bit, and it began to expand as people began to be more mobile. They began to move from one town to the next. If you were to move from Chicago to New York, for example, well, New York, it would be like starting all over. No one would know exactly how creditworthy you were. So the bureaus became very localized and then began to share information with other bureaus. And you'd have a bureau for each town usually. There'd be one for Chicago, one for New York, one for LA, one for this area, that area. And they began to expand and share more and more information. Then credit became a lot more popular. It actually started with a grocery store. There's a grocery store that decided that it was taking up too much time to have to manually keep track of the amount of credit available with all of their customers. They'd have to, write it down on a sheet of paper, this is Jim Bob, has paid this much, here we go, let's mark it down. So they actually used the available technology to create the first credit card, where you could just swipe it and be done. And say, this is how much credit you have. Well, obviously, other companies began to pick up on this and say, this is a pretty clever idea. We could use this for a whole host of other things. You don't have to just buy groceries with it. You could buy anything. If you're Jay-Z and you have a black card, you could probably buy a person now with it. So that is where credit has gone to. Now, fast forward a couple more years, and you find that Americans are engorging on credit. They are absolutely getting their hands on as much credit as they can, more so than any other nation on earth. We like to consume credit, and we were buying homes with it. We were buying homes with 0% down. There was actually financing where you could buy a home and get a loan for 125% of the value of the property. Over 100%. You could essentially say, let me buy that home and get cash back. Let me refinance my property and take cash out on its future value down the road somewhere. Because property values are going up and up and up and up and up. And we hear that phrase that is always, always, always a sign of trouble. This time it's different. When the dot-com bubble happened, this time it's different. The economy has changed. When real estate kept going up and up and up and up, people said, how can it continue to do that? Well, this time it's different. No, it wasn't any different whatsoever. And then housing prices plummeted in most parts of the country. Credit became incredibly difficult to get.